Hi, welcome to The Pursuit of Truth. It is the 30th of May 2018 in the UK, Britain, England, whatever you want to call this realm, this place, this plane. So this, I did actually start doing this and then stop doing it because I'm an hour in whether I should do it or not. I've got a few other things as well, but it's to do with, well, it's last week, I guess now, to do with the Beyond the Imaginary Curve, johnsmithglobelie, roxanne, glen drama. Is it right to call it that? The thing is, whenever you speak, you use words, and some words are very loaded, so I don't know, and some words they just flow. So by using that word, I'm creating a certain picture, isn't it, in your mind, or putting a definition on it, which maybe is not what I mean, or maybe not what happened. But yeah, it was just a word that came to mind. The reason I don't want to talk about it is obviously because it could be seen as divisive, and also I know that if, you know, when you question other people, obviously some people don't like that, the idea of that, even though the whole point of Flat Earth and the whole point of all of this truth seeking is to evaluate everything and question everything, because we don't know, you know, you don't know who to trust anymore, what to trust, whether there is such a thing as trust. Obviously I watched Beyond the Imaginary Curve, and it was one of the second main channels that I started watching a lot of, first being Jamie Brown. Actually I'm not sure, it might have been Sheeps and Neats was next, and then Beyond the Imaginary Curve. I did watch a few things before that, OBD and whatever else. So yeah, I do have a sort of loyalty to it in that sense of that it is something I think there's a lot of value in it, and there's a lot of good conversations between him and Gav and Marshall. And I don't want to, the thing is, like, what is interesting with this is you feel sometimes, and this is maybe part of humanity, and I know that Dale doesn't like the idea of cult worship and leadership and stuff like that, which I agree on, but as humans, maybe because of the way we've been schooled, programmed, whichever one you want to use, we do fall into these kinds of things, you know, in the sense that when I'm listening to, say, Roxanne Glen's attack on Dell, I think, oh, you know, that's not right, and, you know, and I'm sure people, like, in the chat room, like Jamie and other people were, you know, questioning that kind of thing, and lost his spanner because of it. You know, so it's difficult to be objective in that sense, you know, in human nature, and it's also difficult to sort of, when someone attacks you, to not rise to that same thing. And that's why in some ways I don't really get why Dell started the whole attack on johnsmithglobelie, in the sense that, I mean, I understand part of it, and I think I've mentioned this previously. And the other thing, I'll continue that in a minute, the other reason why I don't want to go into all this is because I don't want it to continue any longer than it already has, and also it's just my opinion, and why would anyone want to hear what my opinion is anyway? Do I have the right or the justification to be discussing two other people's dispute? You know, as humans we like to do that, and maybe that's part of the problem, you know. But I don't know, maybe that's how we get things sorted out in our own minds, but also by me giving comment, I'm sort of swaying on different sides and whatever, when it's not even my argument to take. Whereas, you know, that's a lot of, you get a lot of people who get angry about, you know, when you talk about flat earth and things like that, or NASA lying or whatever, and they'll be so angry, how could you say that? Wait a minute, why do you care so much? It's not even your argument, it's not even your business, your company, or whatever. They don't even care about you, why you get so angry about it? But we like to do that as humans. So yeah, it's yeah, the thing I don't understand is, I don't know what happened between the two of them. they're falling out. But the only thing I didn't quite get is some of, like, recently when Dale was talking about, you know, in his recent one, he sort of contradicted himself by saying about people going out on the streets is the way to do things, and then he was talking about social media being an important part. I mean, both are. But I mean, vox pops, which is what he essentially was doing, the street thing that social experimentalists also does, and loads of other people have done it. Journalists do it all the time. I mean, I was taught that in when I was at college doing vox pops. You go out with a camera or a microphone and you ask people things, and you know, you debate with them or whatever. I mean, that's nothing new. Dell didn't invent that. John Smith-Globeli didn't invent that. So the fact that they're falling out because both of them wanted, or he wanted to do it in his way, and he wanted to saturate the YouTube with doing this all the time. I mean, that's, to me, is like each person has their own path, and each person has their own way of going about doing things. You know, Dal comes on every Saturday and does his program and essentially talks about the same thing, same as me on here. I'm coming up with different slight variations, but it's the same kind of topic, isn't it? I'm talking about truth, I'm talking about flat earth, I'm talking about conspiracy, you know, so it would be wrong of me to say, oh, Jamie shouldn't do his hangouts all the time, because the thing is, if that wasn't the case, if that didn't happen, I would have never have found this flat earth thing. It was, I mean, I know I watched I think it was OBD and a few other things before I got to Jamie, but his was one of the main ones that I started listening to and made me consider this thing of, you know, oh, I need to think about this. So it being on YouTube all the time, even if it is repetitive, I mean, that's what adverts are. That's how you get the message across. Because if we're all, you know, like if I, you know, well, not me, but if other people just suddenly stopped, where would people go? You know, until we all understand and all agree, then I don't see the problem with everyone talking about it. I guess the only problem would be is that if the people talking about it are purposely misleading or are wrong, there's not much you can do about that. It's YouTube. That's the nature of YouTube. There isn't any fact checking. That's the reason why people don't take YouTube, as I mentioned previously, as serious as the media, because in the media, no matter what you say about it, they do some form of fact checking before they, you know, talk. Whereas on YouTube, you just pick up your camera, you pick up, you know, like me, on Anchor FM, I pick up my phone and just talk. There could be loads of facts that I'm getting wrong. Anyway, so that's all I really wanted to talk about that. Yeah, I don't really know. That's why I think it's not really my place to voice my opinion, but it did interest me in the dynamics of how we as humans, we pick sides, we take insults sometime when, you know, when we see something with our eyes, we will not get upset, but when it happens to us, we do. You know, and sometimes we can be contradictory in how we act. And humans, as a species, we're very, very complicated, and often we make mistakes. We don't even know we're making mistakes, or we do things that we regret. I mean, that's all part of this. It's just a shame that, in my view, you know, a little bit of time has been wasted with all this vitriol and from these different individuals, and whereas the message is being lost a little bit, and maybe that's purposely being done by other people outside to sort of stir this pot, you know, to keep this going on as long as possible, so that people deviate from it thinking, oh, this is drama, I'm going to find something else, or they're not getting the information that they need. That, you know, we don't need the information about personalities and why people are doing things and who you believe and whether you're camp John Smith or camp Btic. It doesn't matter. I mean, the important thing is the information, the discernment, the getting the information out, the understanding of it, and the implication of it, and, you know, like applying it into our futures. yeah, I think I'll leave it at that, and I'll come back with the other things on a different podcast so I can get rid of this whole subject, so I don't have to talk about it again. Obviously, if you are any of the individuals listening, then I hope you don't mind me talking about it. I know it is, it's a bit like gossip, isn't it, in a way, and that's not a good thing. It's part of human nature. I don't know why I'm drawn to talk about it, but I just felt that it's something that's happened, and I've witnessed it, and I listened to I listened to all the sides, and it just seemed unnecessary, because it's strange that this happens even if you look in religion with Christianity and Muslims and etc. They all have the same belief, just one few variation differences, and yet people go to war over that or kill each other over those little differences, rather than actually looking at, well, wait a minute, 99% we agree on, or we're even walking the same path and the same journey. I think sometimes some of our bad human nature, our egos, our contradictions get in the way of us, but that can't be helped. That's part and parcel of human natures, of us humans. We are a sum of parts. I think that's right. Anyway, take care, take it easy. God bless and peace.